I think we are live on YouTube as well. So, Abby, if you could check, that would
Yep,
be amazing.
you're good to go.
Excellent, guys. Welcome to Pre-Market Show. Happy Friday. Sorry about the slight delay there. NVIDIA seems to be acting up on my computer, my graphics card. So, Norm and I were talking in the room that we're probably going to short that today. So, let's see how it goes. All right, folks. What an interesting week so far. This week has been amazing. The first trading week of June has been really good to us. Really, a lot of great moves, a lot of continuation, which is what we like to see. A lot of volatility, which is great for us day traders. So, let's quickly get into, since we lost a few minutes here, let's quickly get into our top highlights from yesterday. Here was the watch list. And we'll look at CTRV also. This was one of the low floats. We'll look at how nasty that was and why we avoid that at all costs if possible. So here is a SFIX. Let's start off with this one. Let's get into our screen over here. So SFIX had a beautiful pre-market action, right? We saw this happening, a lot of volume dropping nicely here. And then here is actually has a real nice pop at first, opens up, hits some moving averages here, then starts to sell off nicely. Then it became a beautiful opening range breakdown on the 15-minute as well. Let's get the one showing what the one action looks like in here. It just became a beautiful short. I know a lot of you guys took advantage of this trade. Norm, I believe you traded this one also, right? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I got in at 29.60 ish, and I was about 40 cents into it, and I think Andrew called it out, and it was his first or second trade. He got in at 29.20, and I was like, "All right, it's on."
Yeah.
So it was a nice little ride down, and unfortunately, in retrospect, it looks like we both got out too early. But oh well.
Yeah. Well, you get.
It's always crazy. You get $1.50 out of something that's $29, and you still had another dollar, so you could have gotten. But by that time, the easy money was really made in the beginning.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, you want to go with what's sure, right? You get $1.50 out of that, you're happy. You don't need to be greedy because anything can happen, right? It's always to go with what's secure, be on the defensive side. But here, looking at it now, it's like you only got $1.50 out of this. This went down to 26.90, right? But in retrospect, everything is always easy that way. So beautiful drop, traded very well, comes back up to test VWAP, cannot hold. This is what I like when you see this type of action. Also, if you miss this entry, this is another great entry here. You see it cannot hold above VWAP, and then just a beautiful drop. Gives you another pullback here, and then just can't hold it, and then it drops nicely. Now, almost a false VWAP breakout. If you look at the 1 minute, you can see here it's just struggling. This drop here, good confirmation that it does not want to sell any higher. Maybe this you don't get in this 1 minute chart, 1 minute candle here. Wait for the next one, wait for confirmation, and you still caught a really nice move towards the downside. CIEN. Also, this one here. Look at this beautiful pre-market action, just trading nicely. Again, just a lot of stock with some really good pre-market action, some great volume. So right on here, you can see a beautiful drop. Here, it would have been tough for opening range breakdown because again, you see like if it's going to keep going. And then you would have gotten stopped out. But then once it starts getting above VWAP and, with this much volume, right, you got to pay attention to the volume too. Starts going above VWAP with that much volume, it clearly tells you that people were just taking profits here at the open, and then it was going to just slingshot back up. So a good entry could have been here once it left the moving averages, a stop loss below the moving averages. And then from there, just never looks back, cracks the high of day. That's a nice ABCD pattern, kind of bull flight type pattern here. And then just continues to ride this moving average nicely. So that's that. And let's look at Home. Home was also very active. This one's selling down. And so again, notice how good pre-market action here as well. So this one sells down, doesn't move as much, right? Becomes a little choppy in this area here, especially right in here. So beautiful pop to the VWAP. This strategy is kind of like what we've been talking about, the rising devil that we named yesterday. But it's a strategy that Brian trades a lot, right? Usually on weak stocks, they tend to pop up to the moving averages. They gets rejected. He goes in short right in this area, stop loss slightly above the moving average, and then you can see this beautiful drop here. So Home was nice as well, very active. How about AMD yesterday? Again, it just continues to give us some beautiful plays this entire week. AMD, if you look at their daily chart, they have been tremendous to trade. Beautiful opening range breakup, guys. Nice little pop here. Gives you this pullback, right? You want to wait for that pullback to get a good entry. Sometimes these stocks run away from you, they get away from you, it's okay, but you always want to wait for a pullback because you don't want to be getting in before the pullback, and then that's when the pullback happens. Some people do that. They'll get in, with the momentum, but then you got to be really quick to react to your stop loss, have a tight stop. You don't want to hold through a pullback that's going to be, a couple of cents against you. So it does a beautiful pullback, hits the VWAP, beautiful opening range on the 5 minute. You can see making higher highs over here. Then you get a slight pullback again, right to the VWAP. Another great entry for a long also. As you can see here, it kind of hesitates. You can see it's losing momentum, and then here on the way up goes above the moving averages. So another great trade if you missed the first one. CLDR, what do we have here? This one was a bit nasty, but you know what? We traded. I traded this one, and I have a live video for you guys later on today. And guys, on that video, I'm gonna show you how the commission structure works for CME. So after the trading morning, I'm gonna post that on YouTube. How the commissions work, how this new route LAMP works, how fast it is. So I'll send you. I'll do that video after the trading morning. So right in here again, pops up kind of like what we were waiting for, hoping that this was going to sell off here, right? So it did the kind of the same thing we were talking about. Comes up, then sells back down. But it was nasty though. After that, it just went crazy. I recorded this pop here on the 1 minute. So you can see how aggressively that happens. I got short right in this area for rising devil, right? Rising devil, stock sells off in the pre-market, comes back to the VWAP, and then usually sells right back down. So got in here, got out way before this happened here, so thank God. And then you can see it just became just pretty erratic at that point. These candles are not normal, and you're gonna see this squeeze live when I do the video later on today. Then from there, it's just nasty drop. The next 5 minute candles just drops and just continues to drop all the way down to 5. So again, if you waited, nice engulfing pattern here on the 5 minute chart. You got in here for a short right in this area. If you look at this 1 minute, very clean, right? Goes below VWAP, does not want to sell above VWAP. That's a good signal the stock is weak. You can get in short for this move. Here is Roku. So Roku, also very active. I didn't see the price action closely on Roku, but you can see here it's just dropping nicely. Red candle after red candle, cannot hold the VWAP or the moving averages. Hits this one here and just does a pullback, but then just heads right down to it and just basically blows by it. So finally finds the bottom, hits at least back to VWAP. So that was a possibly good VWAP reversal there, but not an easy one to catch because it does take a while to actually happen. Then let's look at this low flow, CTRV. This is one, again, just pure nastiness, guys. Beautiful pre-market action. You get a nice pop at the open. Then it hesitates here. Cannot get any higher. Then it's just from there, it just drops right back down to $6 where it came from. So again, just careful with these stocks, guys. These are some very, very whippy candles. I was watching this price action as well. I had it on one of my charts, but again, it's just nasty the way this thing was trading. So that's what we have for the stocks in play yesterday. We went through that pretty quick since we had a little delay this morning. Norm, what do we have in regards to news for this Friday going into the weekend?
Yeah, well, there was some big news actually when your computer was malfunctioning. The jobs numbers for May were released, and they were significantly lower than expected. Non-farm payrolls were about half. To put it generally, they were expecting 180, and they got 180,000, and there were only 75,000. Unemployment remained unchanged. Hourly earnings were a good amount higher than expected. Later today, 10 o'clock, we've got wholesale inventories. So who knows if that'll move the market or anything. But, we were up quite a bit. That's why we've had these couple of past red candles on the SPY at 8:30 and the 8:35 candles on the 5 minute. They're pretty weak numbers, and it looks like, especially after the ADP report came out earlier this week, that things are slowing. So the rational mind might think that slowdown equals market downturn and such, but this is really just one more catalyst that might cause the Fed to cut rates, which would sooner rather than later, which could goose the market. So we'll see what happens. SPY was up quite a bit when I first started looking at it this morning, and now it dropped back almost to yesterday's close, and it's starting to go back up again. So we'll see. Of course, yesterday it came out late that the U.S. is thinking about delaying the tariffs on Mexico to give a little bit more time for negotiations before they put on the 5% tariff, which was supposed to go into effect Monday. So who knows? All kinds of news going on.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, you can see some pretty good activity happening on the SPY here. Volume obviously pretty high for pre-market action with these drops. All right, guys. So let's get into what we have today. Let's start with our gappers list, then we'll move over to our top list over here: Nasdaq active, Nasdaq gainers. Then we'll get into what you guys have on your end. All right, so let's start with some BYND. It's funny how we were talking about this yesterday. Brian was on the mic mentioning how, they were doing earnings last night, and we were betting. We both thought it was going to go higher, and it sure did, gapping up 26.6 today. It's just a $30 pop, really, from where it was, closing at around 100 yesterday. So the hype is real, guys. The meat is fake, but the hype is real. This stock is very strong, and you can see here just a okay pre-market action right now. It's insane. It's insane how much hype this thing is getting. So okay pre-market action, little robotic candles here, look very algo-like, but again, I think this thing is going to have some serious play today, hitting all-time highs again, popping up $30 after some earnings. Anything aside from great earnings, Norm, anything in news-wise that these guys are putting out there that we haven't talked about?
Yeah, I mean, it's their earnings and their growth. It's kind of crazy from a fundamental perspective. The company had $40 million in revenue, and it's we'll see what its market cap is when it opens, but it'll be ridiculously high. We could just call it that. But it's their growth rate. They grew 300% for first quarter, so that's just astronomical. There's a lot of competition coming to this marketplace. Nestle announced that they're going to get into it. Of course, Impossible Burger is the one that people kind of put them up against as their equal. Mm-hmm. And we'll see what happens here. It just in crazy moves yesterday and this morning.
Yeah, so we don't have a lot.
You got to remember this thing. Mm-hmm. This thing only IPO'd about 2-3 weeks ago at $25.
Yeah.
So you're up 5 times now.
Yeah, no, it's pretty strong right now. And actually, a good question is: this considered a low float? The numbers show that it's only a 4 million shares float. But I think this is not trading that way. I think it's going to be a lot more than that. Eventually, those numbers will get updated. That's my thinking. Norm, what do you think about that in regards to the float size?
Yeah, I mean, let me check one other source. I know it's relatively small float. I have another source, Finviz, just happens to have 54 million float. Mm-hmm. I don't know that that's accurate because the shares outstanding don't sound right. All IPOs are going to have a lockup period for the early investors that have shares before it IPOs, and it's usually they're in different time frames, but a big chunk of them come out 180 days later. So the float will steadily increase over the next 6 months.
Right.
But that just looks like a massive short squeeze to me right now. We'll see, and there aren't any shares for short with IB, and I see you don't have any on CMAG, which I would be terrified to short that anyway.
No, you do not want to short this stock. All right, guys, so that's it right there. In regards to levels, I put them on here already because we only have all-time high 129.48, and then the low of the pre-market 115.02. So we'll put that on there, save us some time later. LJPC, let's look at this one, up 20.4, 695,000 shares traded, so climbing pretty fast over here with the volume, and also up quite a bit. Checking the float on this one, it is a 20 million shares float, so it's a little higher float, not low float, although this price action looks very low flowish like, right? Big day yesterday, popping up here from $6 all the way up to 11. So it got some news going on, most likely. Pre-market action is looking okay at the moment. You can see it has some kind of flow here, has some weird candles in here, but nothing to worry about, with some good volume. So right now this looks pretty interesting at the moment. Norm, this obviously took off yesterday. What happened yesterday on this one?
Yeah, there was an announcement yesterday that they're a biotech company, and they had positive results in a study on a drug that they have. So that's what popped it yesterday. This has about a 22% short interest in it, which it's probably just a continuing squeeze right now.
Yeah.
And the SPY looks like it's the space shuttle trying to get to the moon right now.
Yeah, something's going on with the SPY here. So If you tune in, if you have that on your
But yeah,
screen.
so this is likely a bit of a short squeeze as well, getting out of this.
Yeah, definitely some action happening here. So yeah, LJPC guys, although it's not a low flow, oh, why is this not picking it up? Here we go. So it's not too much of a low flow. It's only 20 million shares. Be careful with it. It's a lower price stock, and then as fast as it goes up, it can come down. Let's go back and look at the beginning of the year. Look at this nice drop here, going from 10 down to 6 to $5. So be careful with this one. Although it's not a too low of a flow, I'm going to put it here down over in a riskier pile because it is a lower price stock. So I want to watch the number of shares I take on this stock if I do trade this one. It is nice. We do have shares for short as well. So we can play this one both ways depending on what type of action we get at the open. Let's look at ZM here. So ZM is what do we have on this one? Not a great pre-market action. Could be because a lot of the volume is not there. It has a nice daily chart though. You can see it has it was stuck within this range here, just kind of chopping around between 80 and 75. It looks like now we're popping up a bit, 14.5. You got a clear resistance over here as well, so that's nice. Let's see what we have in regards to actual pre-market action. So yeah, digging in here again, doesn't look too great at the moment. Volume's got to get going. You got some volume here, 30,000 shares traded here, but overall volume has been very light across the board for the last couple of minutes. So did Zoom have earnings yesterday, Norm? Is this Zoom, by the way? I'm saying the name.
Yes, yeah, it's Zoom. It's also another recent IPO. They did have earnings yesterday, which I believe at least they beat the top line revenue numbers. And they increased their guidance over what analysts had already had. So that was their first earnings report after going public, which often leads to some big moves. Same thing as Beyond.
Gotcha. All right, excellent. All right, so next let's look at so this is good. This will be interesting to watch today. Hopefully it gets more volume and a better pre-market action, but I think this is setting up nicely. Next we have SNY. Yeah, so this is not looking good, guys. Pre-market action looks horrible here. No volume. It looks like a foreign stock, obviously, because you can tell by the daily chart. Just a very nasty daily chart. So not too happy about this one, the way it looks. I don't think it's really anything that looks tradable. Again, low volume, bad pre-market action. So yes, it's up 7.1, probably on earnings. Norm, anything good going on with this thing that we should be aware about, or just totally scrap it?
You know, I didn't really. Yeah, it's a foreign company. It's hard to trade. I didn't even pay any attention to this one, frankly.
Gotcha. Yeah, let's not waste no time on it. Again, nothing here looks good for us to trade in what we're looking for in our type of stocks. Let's look at Home. Home is here one more time. So this one dropped nicely yesterday, going from what was it, 10, 11 bucks all the way down to 7, looks like maybe 6 yesterday. So today it's got some activity, it's got some volume, 326,000 shares traded. Pre-market action might be getting into a nice groove here, right? You have some choppiness going on here. Now we kind of have a nice little downtrend. If we can get into a nice flow here with some volume, this can be a nice one to watch today. So had a really red day yesterday. Again, this had a beautiful drop, gap down quite a bit. So today could be some continuation or maybe a bounce. So we'll see what happens out of this one. Any other news besides the one we discussed yesterday on Home, Norm?
I don't believe so. I think this is just a bounce. I mean, there was one analyst that reiterated a buy rating on it.
Okay.
But that having been said, they reduced their target price from $30 to $10. Mm-hmm. So, you know, obviously, if you got 30% and 20% a year on something, people generally think it in an investment that's fairly good. But that's all I've seen. I think it's just bouncing off that massive drop yesterday.
Yeah, so let's hope that we can get some good movement out of this. Again, pre-market action not looking great from here to here, guys. It's very choppy. Hopefully here we can start getting some nice rotation and nice flow. Next we have DOCU. Here, let's take a look. So DocuSign, we traded this before in the past. We looked at it definitely. I can see we have some levels here as well. So they're down quite a bit today, 15%. Almost 900,000 shares traded. Got some really good volume going here. I do like also the daily chart. You can see it has this got a flow here going on in the daily chart, right? Several levels were just all just drop on this drop here. So especially this significant level here that's been at 50. Looks like the 200 moving average was there as well, and we lost that also. So this is interesting. Pre-market action right now looks very good. Got a nice flow to it with some great volume. What's making this one drop today, Norm? What's in the skies for this one?
They had earnings last night, and although I believe their earnings and revenue beat and their guidance was okay, but they had some really weak subscriber numbers compared to what people had predicted. So when you have a really high growth company like this that has an extremely high valuation, you come in and disappoint, you show any chinks in the armor, and it's going to get hammered like it is right now. So
wow, it's interesting how that is, right? Everything else is good, but one slight little move here on something red, and here's it's dropping 15%.
yeah.
So this is good, guys. We have some good levels off of this one to play. I like the volume. I like the pre-market action. Daily chart is great also. This will be a fun one to watch today. All right, let's look at NASDAQ active. So we have, this is strictly algorithm trading here. Just computers battling each other out. 3 million shares back and forth. Got a huge, look at this. Look at these time and sales, right? So nothing you want to be trading. So we'll skip that one. AMD is very active right now. As you can see, probably also around the same time the SPY started moving here, right? So we can see some activity, some volume increasing, so that's good. Pre-market action looks perfect. AMD's been trading very well throughout the day, so I'm definitely going to be watching AMD. I think it's going to be one of those stocks that it just seems to be very hot lately, right? Look at this daily chart, right? Leaving these ranges, making a new highs. Big day yesterday, and today we're slightly up a bit, so let's see if we can get some kind of continuation out of that also. Over here we have NASDAQ ETF, DOCU we have already. TVIX, Volatility Index, LJPC we have as well. CTHR, it's got some volume here, but a really nasty pre-market action, so nothing that I like about this one. Also, I'll consider this a penny stock, guys. Really trading under a buck for the most part, so we'll stay away from this this craziness here. Next, TLT. All right, so TLT, 621,000 shares traded. This definitely, just looking at this daily chart, looks crazy. What is the float on this one? I'm not getting a float. Oh, but this is this is a treasury, so yeah, no trade that, so we'll skip that one. BYND we have, guys. See what it's doing right now. Yep, looks very good. Looks like you might want to pop this one. You don't want to have a bias. I don't have shares for short on this one, not that I would like to short it. So if you do, just be very careful, because this thing is really strong today. Usually stocks that have this great news and this hype going, I won't be surprised if they make a newer high today and they crack this high of the pre-market. CZR gapping up a bit, 6.2 here, 489,000 shares traded. I don't like the daily chart, guys. This is very, very choppy daily chart. So it just doesn't look like it trades well. It doesn't look like it moves much neither. So, and look at the pre-market action. This is a horrible pre-market action. So I'm just gonna not even look at this one. BYND we have, LJPC we have, HJLI, nothing much going on there. CLSN, same. Zoom we have. ZUMZ, what's going on here? No volume. CRSP, guys, has no volume. I just saw someone mention that in our chat room. But if you look at this daily chart and also the volume, it's just nothing going on here. So yes, it is up nicely, 12.8, but not really any good pre-market action, and mainly probably due to the volume. Next, AGRX, nothing happening here. Penny stock, pretty low volume. NEPT, NEPT got some volume, 208,000 shares traded. Nasty daily chart though, I'm not liking this. Also just losing it really here. So it pops up to 5, it's just heading right back down to its ranges. Just want to check the float on this one. So it is a mid float. Let's look at the pre-market action. Yeah, I don't like the pre-market action neither, guys. Got this one candle here with most of the volume as well, and just doesn't look great at all. Not a good flow, not a good trading trading pre-market action. And then here the last one, SNY. So this one here also, guys, just not looking great. You can tell here this is a horrible pre-market action and a horrible daily chart as well, so we're just gonna bypass that one. All right, we're gonna make some space here. Let's go over what you guys have. Norm, anything that you like this morning?
Let's throw out some announcements real quick before we dive into that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But so just because 8 o'clock, we kind of got best deal. Okay. William, for everybody in the room knows, but William, one of our mods, does a trade review last hour of the day every Tuesday and Thursday. It's phenomenal. People really love doing it. They take their trades for the day and take a snapshot of like a 1 and a 5 minute chart or a 2 and a 5 minute chart, send it in, and then William, goes through the trade with the room and, rooms for improvement, where you did well in all aspects. It's extremely popular. He wants to try, because some people just aren't available at that single time frame. So Peter's going to throw up a poll, and if you guys would let us know, what hour of the day might work good for you, throw it up in there, answer the poll, and let's see when we might put that poll. Andrew will be at a panel at the Modern Trader Summit June 22nd in Montreal. June 21st, the night before, we're going to have a meetup in Montreal. I'll be there. William will be there. Andrew will be there. Peter will be there. Not sure maybe who else, but you never know. And then also, if you're on YouTube and you'd like to check out the chat room for a discount for 2 weeks that does not renew, you can use the promo code PREMARKET24, PREMARKET24, no spaces or anything, and come check out the room for 2 weeks. So that is what I've got for today. As far as other things that I'm looking at, I'm curious to see. I kind of like the daily on Zoomies that you mentioned. Mm-hmm. It definitely needs volume, so it's like not even my secondary pile, but I'll just have an eye out in case something actually happens on it. That's ZUMZ, or Z, as my Canadian friends like to say. And then the other one, and it needs volume, but I like the daily as well, is Domo, DOMO. So once again, like I said, it's only at 34,000 shares traded right now, but it might do something today. We'll see later.
Excellent. All right, guys. Yes.
And
go ahead.
I was just going to say, somebody mentioned Roku, and we've seen this. I think Roku is kind of dead for the moment, and obviously that might change any day. But we've seen things when they have a hard run up to 100, and then they just pause and kind of gyrate and consolidate back and forth around 100. Sometimes the moves are clean. Sometimes they're not, but until this either breaks out or breaks down, I won't be spending a ton of time on it, because it's had a few clean moves, but there have been some that have been very difficult to trade if you didn't have more of a scalping mindset.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Also, we saw how it kind of similar to this here, right? We had this pop, and then just for several days just consolidated. Same here. We had this pop, same thing, several days consolidated, even a big drop within that day, and then I could expect the same thing. So I'm with you on that thought process as well. I think it might just hang around here unless something crazy comes out. Anything is possible, but I'm with you. Might hang out here just for a bit.
If it were Apple or something like that, I might take it differently. But Roku is so whippy when it trades during the day that it's very easy to get stopped out and chopped up on it. So I'm going to probably steer clear of that one. Apple's looking interesting as it creeps back toward 190 here to me.
Excellent. So we'll have Apple, we have BKS, and then we'll look at next SLB. All right, guys, let's get into these. So let's start over with the top. So BYND, we got some levels already. Your high of the pre-market, 129.48. It looks like we want to get up there in a hurry. We got some good activity happening now. And then we have low of the pre-market at 115.05. So all-time high right now, sitting on that pre-market in 129.80. It's the high of all time. So we'll see what it does. It looks like it wants to go up there and test it again. ZM. So here, this one, pre-market action looks so. I think it would be nice to see a nicer, cleaner pre-market action with some good volume. Volume is okay, not great. But let's put some levels here just in case. So 92.44 high of the pre-market, low of the pre-market 89 or 89 flat. Let's get towards the bottom and see if we can find some levels here. So clean level right over here, obviously, right? This is a very clean level. We got a nice little pop rejection, heads back down. within this area, let's see if we could find a clean daily level. I mean, this is a recent IPO, so you're not gonna have much. So I'm just gonna go with this one here. It's not the best level because again, it's just kind of really randomly just one day here with a pop at 85.67. But you have to have something between here and here because there's no way, you know, your next level should be 83.05. It's just too far out. You know, I expect there's going to be some loss of momentum if this thing starts to sell off. All-time highs right now. So if it gets above this 92.44, no other levels towards the top. Next we have home. So home pre-market action is still not getting better. Still seems pretty choppy here. Still got some volume, right? 382,000 shares traded, but it's not looking too clean in pre-market action wise. So level wise, we have high of the pre-market sitting at 795, so we'll mark that down. Low of the pre-market slightly above the previous day close, but we'll mark that down also, 757. So pretty close to the low of the pre-market on there. There we go. So we'll see what that does. Again, I had a big red day yesterday, but not really a fan of the pre-market action. I might drop this one off. Next we have a DOCU, DOCU. Again, nice drop here on earnings report. Some people didn't like the number of memberships they had. So high of the pre-market 47.80 and 43.80 is also the low of the pre-market. So let's get in here and find some levels towards the top and bottom. We're literally dead center of these two ranges, right? So from your high and your low, we're just hanging out right in the middle. Let's find some levels towards the top. If we can get above this 47.85, clearly this is going to be a very nice level here. I'm going to mark down this moving average around 50.10. All right, that's a clear level of resistance because it's been support over the last couple of weeks and now it can be resistance. So that's a clear one there. In between here, you have several days. I'm going to zoom into that so we can see it better. What we have there, 49.40. I just want to zoom in here. So we have several days using this as over here, using this as resistance at 49.40. Then towards the bottom, below 43.89. Very nice level right in here, and you can see clearly you have some support, and then taking off after it was resistance. So you can see that as well there. We have a moving average here. I'm going to mark down this moving average because it's right at 45 as well, and you can also see these several days using it as support off this moving average also. So that's the only reason why I'm marking that there. But I think you got plenty of levels in here for DOCU already. Let's look at AMD. So AMD again, she's been very active lately. Do like the pre-market action right now. Had a very strong, huge day yesterday. Only level I'm going to mark on this one is really the high of the pre-market. After that, we know 33.31 is the next clean level we had when we went back and found go back right in here. So seriously, so you can see here that here we have a 33.31, but it just marked down the high of the pre-market at 32.33, so you can have that on there as well. So dip this head below the previous day close, heading back up now, kind of probably moving with the SPY, right? The market did the same move, dipped down and took off. So it looks very active with some serious volume, 1.5 million shares traded. ZUMZ, we're going to put this one down here. Doesn't have good volume right now, but Norm was telling us how, again, this could be an interesting one. So we'll keep it on here for the moment and see what we get out of that in the mid-morning. DOMO, daily chart looks very interesting. Let's put some levels on here. 26 low of the pre-market, high of the pre-market sitting right at 27. So we'll mark those two. Let's go in this area here. We got some consolidation happening right around here. So let's find some levels towards the bottom. You have this one here, 24.85. And then towards the top, you have this one here, 28.39. All right, just gonna mark that one, this one here too, because I like the way this level is right on here, just in case. 23.05. So this one is interesting, guys. Doesn't have the volume right now, but the daily chart looks good with this drop of 16%. So possible one to add on our list later on if things are not moving, or if this one hits our scanners, we have it ready and set to go. Apple, wow, Apple's looking interesting with this nice pop here. This is good. Apple's slowly crawling higher here. So slowly but surely it's kind of making its way up to this 190-ish area. I see you like this one today, Norm. 187.50, yep. 187.60 high of the pre-market. And then we got a moving average right at 190, but I'm going to mark 190 because I think that is going to be probably where you're going to get some clear resistance. And also you have another one all the way up here at 192. So Apple looks interesting. Towards the bottom, you need to add any more. You have the previous day close, highs and lows already on there. Also got a nice moving average coming in here and in here. So plenty of stuff here you can find support on for Apple. BKS, someone mentioned this in the chat room. So this one here, guys, it's got some crazy volume, 11 million shares traded, but look at this volume is not creating a good pre-market action.
It's a buy. It's a cash buyout.
It is. All right, so it figures that. I mean, this is not creating anything good for us, so we're gonna just skip this one here. SLB also not great volume, guys. We're going into past 9 a.m. Eastern time. This one only has 37,000 shares traded, so not anything that's looking too interesting. We'll get rid of this. And then we have LJPC losing some here as well. This is a bit of a higher flow, is at 20 million shares flow. But be careful, it is a lower price and is moving pretty active this morning. So I have the pre-market 1268. Let's go back so we find a level above this. Yep, let's get right in here. We got some levels in here. Just remind us, look at this drop here, guys, so be careful. This thing can just drop out of nowhere. Towards the top, we have a clean line here of support and resistance, 1422. Several days using this as support. You can see here not wanting to lose that. Once it does lose, you can see how you get the beautiful drop. So 1422 possible area. Then above that, you got clearly all the way up here 16. I don't think we'll get there today, but then you can also mark down this one here between here 1527. Then towards the bottom, I think we have quite a, I think we have enough. You have a moving average here. You have the high from yesterday as well. Previous day close. You got plenty towards the bottom. All right, folks, so this is my list right now. I am going to just quickly go through this again. How many we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6. I think that's plenty. I think this is good enough. Unless there's anything else that looks way better than what we have here, shoot it out to us, guys. But this is the list we have for this Friday. Apple is very active. AMD, I'm going to be watching closely. DOCUs got some volume, not creating the best pre-market action right now. It's kind of stalling a little bit, but it can have some potential. It does have a very nice daily chart. We love this drop here. Home could be on a bounce back day, so be careful. Pre-market action also not looking amazing, but it's got some good volume, down 3.7 after a huge red day yesterday. So let's see if we can get some kind of continuation out of that today. ZM looks like it might want to break out. Here's a recent IPO, also looking very strong. Might want to crack the high of the pre-market now. As you can see, it's going back up there to test it one more time. So already tested it 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's see. And then last but not least, BYND also has been extremely active. All-time high sitting at what's this, 129.80. So mark that down there, 129.80. You can actually there's a way to actually set this. You could double click on this and set it perfectly. You can actually, if you do configure, you want to set an exact price, you can configure. This screen comes up, you can change your color, you could do 129.80, and then you'll move that line right on there. So if you want to be very specific on your price, you can do that. All right, guys, so that is what we have. Norm, anything else, any announcements before we hop off?
No, that's it. I'll just say one more time, Andrew will be at the Modern Trader Summit June 22nd, June 20 in Montreal, June 21st. We're going to have a meet up there. Check the forums for more info. And also, if you're on YouTube and you haven't been in the chat room before, you can use the promo code PREMARKET24, PREMARKET24, no spaces, to come try us out for 2 weeks at a reduced rate.
Excellent, guys. So that's all from us. Have a great weekend. Look out for that video I'm going to release shortly in regards to commissions on CME, and also a live example of my trade yesterday and how fast his executions happen. I also have a screenshot of my statement so you can see the entries and exits and the actual commission charge. So that's going to be it's going to answer a lot of questions. I know we have a lot of people asking about CME, but the new commission structure is amazing. You're going to really save a lot on commission, especially if you're scaling out. So take care, guys. Have a great weekend. Have a great Friday. Trade safe. Again, I just want to remind everybody, Friday is all about trading well and going into the weekend knowing that you followed your rules. You stuck to your stop loss. Do not force a green day. Stay disciplined. Stay focused. Take care, guys.
You got it. Stay safe. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend.